I see 6 o'clock. I call the planning commission meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Perfect timing. Come on over. Unfortunately, Kirkley will not be able to join us, but we'll just move right along to the consent agenda. Anyone?
I make a motion to approve the planning commission minutes from May 12th, 2025.
Okay. I disapprove.
No.
There is an error, I believe, that under 5A, it's supposed to reflect 290 Gopher Flat, not 110. Is that true? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So if you want to amend that.
Go for flat on the agenda, right? And then today you have 290.
Okay, it's a different
Yeah.
property? Okay, okay,
Yes. Very confusing.
okay, all right.
Are you okay with the minutes as they
Thought
stand?
it was a different property, so.
Yeah, no, that's one that's continuing on.
And so that continues on to.
Yep.
To continue.
Till today? No, we're later. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds perfect.
Okay.
So there's that motion.
Motion to approve still stands.
Second, discussion was done. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
And one absent. Berkeley. So at this time, Aaron, if you want to start us off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should
Public hearing.
do public hearing for anything, public forum for anything not on the agenda today. Anyone want to speak on something that's not going to be talked about later? I didn't assume so. We're not riveting as a meeting. I will close that. And now, if you could kick us off.
Yeah, so the first item on the agenda is a conditional use permit for a short-term rental at 70 Broad Street. The property is located within the R1 zoning district and the historic district. It is a 3-bedroom house and they have the required 3 parking spaces for the short-term rentals. So both this item and the next one are a little bit unique. They have been operating as short-term rentals, so they were permitted under the county. So they went to the county, got their short-term rental permit, submitted their TOTs. This one was permitted at the beginning of the year, January. And then and the county collects TOTs quarterly. So when they went to go pay their quarterly TOTs for the first part of the year, they said, oh, you're in the city of Sutter Creek. We should not have permitted you. We are not the governing body. Go to the city of Sutter Creek. So they came to us with their applications and submitted their application when they realized that there was this error, and have been that our finance department has been working with the county and actually has recovered the TOT from the first quarter for this property at the 70 Broad Street. The required parking is three parking spots. The applicant indicates that the driveway can accommodate up to 10 cars. The city has not received any complaints in the 5 months that this Airbnb has been in operation. So like I said, this is kind of a unique situation. And if this one is approved, it would bring the number to 20. So that was that number that the city council had kind of talked about for the last few years. So, and in the resolution, the standard conditions of approval apply, including having them provide the city with a site and floor plan and proof of insurance. So I can answer any questions. I think the applicant is
We'll open it
here.
up to the public forum then.
Yeah.
And then we can have discussion among the members. Brandy, if anyone who wants to speak, step on up to the mic, just because this meeting is being recorded.
So this is up for 70 Broad Street. So I don't know if this is the one you want to talk about. Okay.
70.
I guess my biggest question is one that comes up every time is, do you live locally? Will you be the one responding?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I do not, I do not allow anybody to just rent. They have to request from me. I send emails, we talk, who are you? Who are you coming? What's your age? What are you doing here? So I pre-approve anybody because I'm not allowing parties in my house. I lived at that house for 5, 6 years. And I love the neighbors and the community and the quietness. So that's what we're trying to keep. The people we've had in so far have just wrote me and said, we just love the historic Old Town feel. We love the porch. They walk down to Chocolate, bring their coffee back or get pizza, eat it on the porch. So it's just been really like a lot of families coming for weddings and just really enjoying that quiet, quaint downtown. You know, it has like this really cute porch and people just love that. So
Thank you,
Mhm.
Brandy.
yeah.
Anyone else? If not, I will close the public forum discussion.
I don't have any comments. It meets all the criteria set by city codes. Yeah, it has more than ample parking. We have a local individual to respond if needed. Any other comments from?
The big thing
Members?
is our number was 20. And that was really what we set. And then we were going to kind of put on pause these. I know there's some out there as well that probably aren't documented. That brings us above 20, but we have only can document so many. It's hard. I mean, obviously city staff has a lot going on. They can't just sit on vacation rental sites and constantly check on these. So we do the best we can, but 20 was our number and this would bring us to 20. So
Yeah. So
it's-
one of my projects this summer is to do some additional research and bring it back to the city council at the city council meeting. And I think, I can't remember if we were at like 17 or 18 when I went to the city council last time to discuss it. They didn't feel strong that it had to stop at 20. They want to start researching it and understanding how more would impact our potential local residents looking for long-term rentals, the density of them. If there's 3 out of 5 houses on a block or short-term rental, that obviously changes the feel and character of a neighborhood. So that will be brought back to the city council sometime this summer.
I also know at least one, I got a list and I think anyone can request a list from Aaron at any point. I know there's one on my street that is being used as a long-term rental. So I don't know, at what point do they stop? Does their permits die if they don't use it? Or is it just
I
ongoing?
say that if you, I think
Keep
12
paying fees.
months.
They haven't paid any TOT taxes within 12 months?
Yeah.
Because I know there's been families living this one there was family for 6 months and now another family just moved in. So I just didn't know when that goes away and if people are monitoring that as well. You could build that into your study. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because that's the hard thing. I mean, for me personally, it does affect the hotels. It does affect the ones that we've already approved. And we're kind of saturating the market. And we also have local families, small families that will eventually get priced out because everyone buys houses and turns them into vacation rentals. So just a thought. I'm not against them. I love them, but I use them all the time. Not hearing any discussion, I would entertain a motion.
I have Couple
Please.
things I wanted to bring up, and some of them is because I'm trying to learn the process, so bear with me.
This is the time.
Well, under the CEQA guidelines, it says that this qualifies for the exemption under class 32 infill project. Is this actually an infill versus a class 1 existing, which is an existing home with slight modifications?
Not a modification at all. It's
Yeah.
exempt from CEQA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So CEQA only applies, sorry.
No, please. No, that's why I said, secret at the end.
CEQA only applies for jobs specifically and outside of the infill projects where there's a potential environmental impact or large societal impacts in which you have combined studies of environmental impacts, you
Right.
have historical, archaeological society, biological surveys, flora and fauna. Because there's no structures changing, the property is not being touched in any way, this is exempt from CEQA.
But is it under class 1 or class 32? Is it infill or existing?
It's existing. It's an existing
So
structure.
that's why I was wondering if 32 it should actually be a class 1.
So we can change that in the resolution.
So we make a motion.
Because it's not
and
an
then-
infill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
good catch.
And then a couple of other things, because once again, I was asking about some of the stuff after the meeting, I think, last week. Like, it says staff recommends the following, and so like documents 5, 6, and 7, those aren't submitted in advance with the application, so we review them to approve them, or I'm trying to understand that process is if we
Yes.
approve it, it goes.
So
to-
actually, last week I was working on updating the application checklist for applicants, and then moving forward, they will submit that beforehand.
Okay,
Because
so-
in this situation, they need to submit that before we will issue the business license and their certificate to operate their short-term rental.
So items 5, 6, and 7 will come in advance of coming to us for a final.
In the future, when we have
Yeah.
our new application materials,
Okay.
yeah.
For everyone else who doesn't have the packet in front of them, 5, 6, and 7 are proof of insurance, site plan and floor plan, as well as fire safety, smoke alarms,
And then
fun things.
if we're making modifications to the application in the future, it seems like 17, 18, 19, and 20 are not conditions for approval, but just standalone paragraphs, if you will. Versus it's a condition? Or is that not?
That's
Like-
typically how we've just done them, like this
Yeah.
way as conditions of approval that, but I see what you mean.
Could we change that if you're modifying and revising those items?
Yeah, so the conditions of approval go in a resolution, and that's
Okay.
where that list, that these are all going into a resolution. Which is their permit. It
Okay.
says like, you must do all of this to be in good standing with this conditional use permit that you have. So I can look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice that it's in
It's
the
in.
resolution though, because then it's
Yeah.
approved, like,
Oh,
they, if they don't do any of those things, then.
Yeah.
they-
I see what you mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if someone sold their short-term rental, didn't tell us about it, and then that person the new owner continued to operate it, we would say you're in violation of your condition of approval because this is non-transferable.
Okay. All right.
Good questions.
Mhm.
All right.
And that's the hard thing with this one, especially. I mean, the owner tried to do it right. They went to a governing board. They went through all the processes. It's just
Yeah.
happened to be the wrong place, which government is difficult. So it's not very understandable. I would entertain a motion if there's not any.
I make a motion to approve, let me find the top one. Conditional use permit for short-term rental at 70 Broad Street.
And we'll make that one change to whereas the planning commission does find the proposal is exempt from environmental review as a class 1 categorical exemption under CEQA.
Yes.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? one absent. Kirkley.
Okay, so the next application is a conditional use permit for a short-term rental at 290 Gopher Flat Road. This home is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and is on a half an acre. They are also required to have 3 parking spaces. It is zoned single-family residential, R1. Same situation, except this one has been operating for a year and a half. And to date, the city was able to recover all of the TOT from the county for the last year and a half. So,
Well done.
so again, same situation. The county made a mistake. And if this is approved, it would bring the number to 21. The same recommendations for the conditions of approval. And again, I would recommend modifying the whereas for the CEQA exemption to infill if the planning commission does want to move forward with this one. And I do believe we have some people in the audience that wanted to speak on this.
This is the time. Public forum is now open. If anyone would like to speak, please step up to the microphone. Whoever wants.
Okay, I haven't talked in a microphone in a while. A lot of what I wrote down is a little different because I've learned some information since we got here about the fact that they did go through the application process and just to the county and not to the city of Sacramento or so my that was kind of like what I was thinking about at the beginning. I am glad that you're screening people. I appreciate that. My concern for the most part is their backyard. Their backyard is not fenced in at all. And the way, so they're on Gopher Flat. That's the address for this house. But their backyard is on Meadowcrest Road. And we live on Meadowcrest Road right across the street from them. The sound just carries. It's, it's higher up in elevation from our houses. And it sounds like even when they live there, they're right in our backyards. Just the way that the backyard is from our yards and our houses. And so it concerns me being a short-term rental that people are coming in. This is not a small community, but it's a neighborhood primarily made up of retired people. Some small families are now moving in, but it's quiet. And so you have this big house and you do have people coming up here that are not on a work mode, agenda. They're here to celebrate something great, hopefully. They're here to talk in their backyard and to celebrate and probably party. I'm glad that you have a time limit, or there's time limits for Sutter Creek for short-term rentals. But the backyard is a real hardship for us because we hear everything. And with more people, not just their small family anymore, but more people we've been hearing. It's late at night and we hear what's going, people just outside. So I didn't know, I thought this was the beginning of the application process, but obviously they've been renting it out for a while now, and that makes sense why we're hearing more and more. So those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Hi, Marcus LaPalooza. I don't know if you know stuff. We live actually behind them, that house, 290 Gopher Flat. And we have the same concerns. We have the same concerns that there's just going to be more noise. We love the quiet neighborhood. There are a lot of senior citizens there. So the other big concern is the precedence. Like if this house becomes a short-term rental, other people move on, like I said, a lot of elderly people. We don't want our neighborhood to have lots of short-term rentals, especially, we know our neighbors. It's a great community. We really enjoy being there. And if it becomes a transient community, honestly, we'd be incentivized to go elsewhere. That would be.
Well, and that's the concern too, of that if that's the case, if we end up having multiple, then it's going to drive down our property value. Nobody's going to want to come in and buy a home in between multiple Airbnbs.
Other than that, yeah, I mean, I do appreciate that there would be a time curfew and things like that. And, you know, I'm sure under the good circumstances, it would work great. Under ungood circumstances, it could be very bad. So that's our concerns.
And like you were just saying, I mean, we have retired people. We know our neighbors. We've been here for 20+ years and it's a great neighborhood. It's quiet. And don't really want,
Super
people
quiet.
coming and going.
I just want to hear cows at night and, coyotes and.
We are right behind, so we do hear the noise too, and it's visible. I mean, we go out on our deck and you see it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're concerned.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Could I ask the applicant a question? Is there landscaping planted? It looks like the house is newer, so I don't know. I see, I'm looking at Google Earth and streets, like the landscape.
Yeah, so the house is fully landscaped. And so just to let you guys know, that is our full-time home. We have rented that house out 3 times this year. So what you are hearing are my wild children. They're, what was that? Yeah, they're 2 little ones, but now they're 5 and 7. And so we're having a lot of play dates, lots of barbecues with the kids. They're crazy. They scream. Oh, I know, but I'm just telling you, we live there full time. So we travel and once in a while we rent it out to travel and that's it. But again, I screen everybody who's been in. I know there's been like families with older guests, grandma and grandpas, mostly families. So yeah, I mean, we've really only rented it out 3 times this entire year. And again, our kids are loud and I yell at them a lot. Like I do. I know, but I'm just saying, if you're hearing things, it's probably the Wolverines that live with me. Hmm. Yeah. 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 So there is no late night parties. I mean, every time I've came home, the house has been pristine. I mean, I haven't had a drop on the floor, a spill. I mean, and we've been doing it for a year and a half and nobody's complained till today.
And that's any other public forum.
Oh, you're just, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because you could come knock on my door anytime. Yeah.
Stating a worry.
Yeah, you're right. We're worried about. Okay.
20.
Well,
Currently.
Yeah, just.
I know.
It wasn't written in the code.
I don't know why a homeowner would be.
And-
I don't know, I can't think of a reason why anyone would say, oh, I want a transient occupancy place next to my house. I try to think about that, I'm like, I don't know.
Next to your house or why I did it?
And-
Why you?
And
Oh, okay, yeah.
point of order real quick. We just need to have one person speaking at the mic and then
Oh,
we can
okay.
rotate if we want. to,
Yes.
but we just.
So, I mean, this is our house. We're never moving. We do it just to travel. So I don't know how it would bring your property value down because we're not. Yeah, I have parties. Okay.
Anyone else? I don't want to close it. Julia.
Oh, thought the light was on. I got a phone call from Councilmember Seark earlier today. She, I guess, is a neighbor as well. She's voicing opposition, but it was a voicemail and it was cutting in and out. She said something about non-compliance, but I'm gathering that might be because of the county approval as opposed to the city.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandy. I know.
When I first started doing this, I went on to Airbnb or VRBO and I followed every step that they requested. I got a transient, occupancy tax through the county because that's what it said to do. I could have just brushed this under the rug and not done this, but I want to go about it the right way and,
We appreciate it.
yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I know.
and I'm writing them checks.
And one experience I've had in previous jurisdictions is Airbnb and VRBO sometimes has agreements with the jurisdiction to send the TOT and sometimes they don't. And so in Plymouth, we had property owners that had rentals and their TOT had just been going to Airbnb for years.
Right.
And they were like, well, we've been paying it. What do you mean? And
Yeah.
it was, Plymouth didn't have an agreement with them, so they never sent it back to Plymouth.
Right. So I think it's
So-
VRBO automatically takes 10% for the TOT. Automatically, it's already sent to it was being sent to the county. For Airbnb, they send me a letter. I fill out how much I made that month. I take 10% and I write them a check, and that's where that's been going. So as long as you guys got it back.
And I think the way our system works here is monthly, we send a form that says submit your TOT.
Right.
And that is, you tell us how much you've
Right. That
rented.
exact same thing. Exact same
Yeah.
thing.
Where the county is quarterly, we are monthly.
Oh, yeah. It was quarterly. You're right.
And so,
But one of them, like Airbnb or VRBO, sends it automatically to the city. So I would have to go in and, I don't know,
Talk to them.
figure that out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will close the public forum and, go, no, please, this is the time.
So are you saying that it's only going to be rented out when you're traveling? Is that the criteria? Okay, so it's not a full-time transient occupancy place of residence. Okay, that changes the information okay, yeah, that's a little bit of a different story. For me, anyway, I feel better about that, knowing that you guys are there and you would be coming back to it and stuff like that. So just wanted to say.
and
Thank you, Marcus.
so just a reminder too, for everyone in the audience, if there is an issue, the local contact person, where in this case it is the property owner, is responsible and responding. And if that isn't happening, please reach out to the city because we will keep track of these complaints. And then they would be not in compliance with their use permit, and that would become an issue. But if it's happening at Saturday night at 10 o'clock, we're not here at City Hall, so we aren't aware that these issues are happening. So, and it's make sure, it sounds like Brandy is always going to be around, or some representative is around. And so I think make sure phone numbers are exchanged
Or your
for,
mom, I
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Which is what we want. I mean, there's other ones out there that they live in down south and it's 7 hours away and they don't have anyone local. That's not what we want. This is what we want. And that's the thing. So if it's not during business hours, you could always call, well, you're supposed to call the police department. If it's anything, after 9 p.m., R1 is 50 decibels, over 50 decibels, I believe.
I think it's 10.
That's a lot lower.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes people feel like calling the police is too much. And so that would be, make your note and call City Hall on Monday.
Yeah.
If
Or there's
if it doesn't feel like it's something that is like you need immediate assistance to, but it's like
There's a fight.
there's
That's the difference.
been party after party after party, or yeah, let's see the noise.
This is a not.
10 p.m. to 7 a.m. like 45, slightly noisy is what we allow.
Yeah, 50. So I thought,
Yeah.
and it's all within reference, obviously. If you have one person who screams for a second at a child, I have children too, so I understand. Not hearing any more public forum, I'll close the public forum discussion among planning commissioners.
Other ones. Again, like the last one, I kind of go a bit black and white. There's no room in the code that says this is in violation of any of the city ordinances. It'd be nice for the council to put a bit of guardrails on this, because it's not our job to unfortunately put the guardrails on. you know, it's your full occupancy, you're only doing it when you're traveling. I don't see any reason not to approve this, but I'll open it up to the other members.
And I would ask if you could bring it up to the council. I mean, we set that, we recommended 20 and within not having too many within certain density, so you don't have these problems. So you don't have 5 on a street and it becomes the party street, or over 20 we felt was saturated at the time. I mean, obviously it was a different planning commission. So whatever the city council wants, but that's kind of what we were thinking. I know I personally, it's hard for me because this one, they tried to do the proper process. They would have got to us before a lot of other ones that we
At 10?
recently. Yeah, I mean, so it's hard to stick to that 20 number. I know Kirkley and I were really kind of set on, but that was, if you could ask them,
Yeah,
please.
well,
Thank you.
Do you have any comments?
I was trying to understand, do we give an approval if that's what we so choose? On the condition that the 20 is moved to 21 or?
No,
There's
it's not a
nothing
hard
written in
number.
the ordinance.
Oh,
It's not a hard
There's
number.
nothing
So we just go past that?
legally that says that we have to
Arbitrary number.
reject it.
Okay.
And we're gonna do, the staff is gonna be able to do some research, they said this summer, of try and chew up the number, because I know there's one on there that's in Surrey Junction. So that probably falls off, but I don't know if there's others that come on and,
Well, that other one was on Gopher Flat that we postponed.
yeah, and that's not counted
Yeah.
till they get approved.
So we're gonna start looking, which I think we should, is how many on a street, because a couple months ago, didn't we approve one on Broad Street too?
Yeah, there's
No.
2 on Broad Street now.
In Washington, yeah,
Just to make sure we don't have another one. on-
absolutely. I
but
mean,
that,
it's-
that's gonna, I'm gonna try
But-
to map them
that'd be
Yeah, that
phenomenal.
would be great.
so we can see.
But again, that's outside the jurisdiction, our purview. That's for the council to
Mhm.
set limitations. Based on current code for the city, there's no limitations whatsoever. They meet all expectations written in the city ordinances. Is that my understanding correct?
Yes, since we
Yeah.
don't have a limit, and that 20 was just a check-in.
4 or 5 years ago, we tried to
Right.
get this as a
Yeah.
cleaner process and try to get something going, but it kind of fizzled out, so
Oh,
we might need to do it again.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 2425 for Brandy Onetto at 290 Gopher Flat Road for the short-term rental.
Second?
You turned yourself off. You turned yourself off. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Kirkby absent. Thank you all for coming.
Well,
Really appreciate it.
It's pretty bad on my part because it relates to the minutes are wrong, because it said I was absent on a motion that I approved last meeting. So I was hoping we could correct that.
Yes, the
says
time to
that-
do that.
So I think
was-
it says that
that-
you came in late.
No, not on the sign permit for the perfume bar.
Yes, and that was because when you came, we had already done that before you got there.
we approved it.
Oh, I wasn't
in
You
here?
weren't
No.
here yet.
That was fast.
There's sometimes a
Quick
pledge of
one.
allegiance is the longest part of these meetings.
It was very fast last week.
That's the consent agenda. I
Sorry.
will call this meeting closed unless there's
Oh,
anything else.
I just wanted to talk to you guys about some other information that I've learned over the last week.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you for trying.
I was hoping that the property owner was gonna be here. This was the woman that owns
110 or
Boston Alley, the short-term
90.
rental, Sandra Burns. So she called, reached out last week because it took her, I don't remember when her project was approved, I don't know, 2 months ago, just to get the insurance. And her concern is that people are not getting the appropriate insurance that is required. She said no insurance person in the county had a clue what she was talking about or was able to issue her the short-term rental insurance. And they also required her to have a shut-off valve on her water, which was an extra $700, and it made her premium go up. I need to get more information from her to make sure she got the right thing, because I think we were all under the assumption it was just you call your homeowner's insurance, they add something to your policy, and you go from there. But she was upset that has now made her premiums go up. It took her 2 months to get it, all these other things. So I told her to come to talk during public forum to just let you guys know. Oh,
I can talk to you later.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a nice thing with doing it in the application process. They
Yeah.
kind of get that out of the way
Yeah.
first, and they can decide if the cost is prohibitive at that point too.
Yeah.
So,
So again, like I didn't,
but yeah, I don't know if we need necessarily an insurance breakdown. That's more on them.
Well,
Than they going and asking the right questions. their
her
insurance.
question is like, what does the city care if I have the right insurance or not? They're not liable. And I mean, that's kind of a valid question.
Except that hotels all have insurance,
Yeah,
and you are operating in essence a small hotel,
yeah.
a small business, and all
You can
businesses
write it
are
off
required to
too.
have insurance.
Yeah.
To tell everybody.
I mean, I guess it's more of a suggestion, a requirement to cover themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah,
Because you have to have, you can't do an Airbnb in an EDU.
an ADU. Yeah,
You have to do it in your primary home.
yes.
And that was the problem that this individual is running into.
So yeah, that was her original issue. She came and said, I'm gonna rent out my ADU. I said, you
Well-
can't. Our code specifically says you cannot. And so then, you know, I made many suggestions. One was you move into the ADU and then you can rent out your main house. N- And, and then she decided to go forward with just the one room.
Well, there could be instances when you do have your short-term rental and I don't know if an insurance company will approve it if a tenant or burns down your house versus you, or if somebody just rams into your garage and busts it up and nobody wants to see it and it's an eyesore, and then the current homeowner chooses not to fix it because it wasn't insured property. So there are things you might not think might happen, but I have another place where this gentleman rammed into the garage 3 separate times. The last time broke the structure of the building. And so it used to be a replace free on these garage doors and said no more because the insurance went through nobody wanted to fix it. And everybody's sitting there kind of looking at like this eyesore. So there could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, like you said,
And-
but I like what Tommy said. I think all of those things like insurance and the plan and stuff should be in the application process versus after the fact, so we could review it.
And so in Jackson, where
Just
I
keep
also
that.
work, I mean, it's approved at the Airbnb, or the short-term rentals are approved at the staff level. And we go out, we inspect them, we get all of this information, has to be in there. We want to see their house rules, which when I did the ordinance in Plymouth, that was the other thing, because we want to see that they are saying, these are the best restaurants in town. Go visit this wine country. Here are the historic sites, you know.
Like, as far as I can see it, our hands are tied until the council creates something a bit more detailed.
We tried.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like all these are just,
Thoughts?
well, they're not thoughts, like, they come, doesn't matter what you think to approve them, because there's nothing that says otherwise in the ordinance.
No, I mean, you could find that they're not desirable for
Well,
the city of Sutter Creek.
How about if they had a fire in the house and somebody dies in there? They didn't have the insurance. Would the city be liable somewhat because we approved it as
No.
a hotel or this Airbnb? I don't know. Are there those circumstances? There's always a first, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because the Airbnb doesn't require these people to show that they have city approval. You're probably just click a button that says, I understand that I need approvals.
Yeah, and then I pay TOT tax, check.
Yeah,
They don't send it.
If you wanna go that far, you can say, it's like the liability clauses at that point. I take full responsibility, the house is structurally sound, blah, 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 blah. I don't think things are going that far yet, but. I don't know, it would be nice to get more direction because it's an open book right now.
Yeah.
There's very little, like, other stuff, you can actually find some reasons to say no, but I've read the guide, the ordinances, there's not much that you.
There's nothing really.
You can't, it's so open-ended, you can't really reject it. I know. I'd love for you to come up with a reason that is sound. But I
Getting
have
close
to
this
say-
time, but they're not desirable to the city.
They're not.
Finding, the first
We'll
finding.
keep you guys
Why were
posted
they
on when it goes
approved?
to city
If they're
council so you
done yet?
can participate in the conversation if you'd like.
Yeah, or if you want to discuss it in more in depth here, then I think we need to request like that we create an agenda item to discuss it.
Sorry, I
Because we
sent
really
us down
can't,
this route.
we really shouldn't be discussing it non-agendized
Yeah.
items.
That's my fault. Sorry, guys.
If there's nothing else, I will call this meeting closed at 6:41. Huzzah.